Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you are and wherever you might join us from. This is your Brother Kwame Nkrumah Trust. I'd like to welcome Akan Williams, welcome Brother Koko, welcome Sister Portia, welcome Brother Pigeon, and then welcome myself. Give me a moment, there's a lot of noise in the background. Yes, we have met again to discuss philosophy and ideology. As usual, we shall read and share our thinking. And we'd like a volunteer to read for us. As usual, read slowly so we can all take it in as you read. Thank you very much. Any volunteer can read for us. Thanks.
I will go ahead, Brother Kwame.
It's okay. Sister Portia, thanks for volunteering. I shall read. It's okay. Let me read. Right. So the suspicion that living things exhibit a non-perceptive response is not new. It's not new. Indeed, Descartes, some say Descartes, thought that the response of all non-human animals was non-perceptive. He therefore denied that non-human animals possessed souls, remaining content to believe that all the actions of such animals could be given a mechanical explanation, which is complete. But even humans are not entirely above non-perceptive response. Indeed, a response that starts by being apperceptive could, in time, be rendered non-perceptive by the technique of producing a conditioned reflex. So that's the text from that paragraph. I think I will add the next paragraph to it, so we can discuss both paragraphs. So the next paragraph reads: Aristotle had, before Descartes, maintained a similar opinion that only humans were capable of a self-conscious apperceptive response. This opinion of Aristotle's was confirmed in his invention of the vegetable and the animal souls as distinct from the rational soul. So that's the reading for today. I hope it's very clear. I shall read again. The suspicion that living things exhibit non-apperceptive response is not new. Indeed, Descartes thought that the response of all non-human animals was non-apperceptive. He therefore denied that non-human animals possessed souls, remaining content to believe that all the actions of such animals could be given a mechanical explanation which is complete. But even humans are not entirely above non-apperceptive response. Indeed, a response that starts by being apperceptive could, in time, be rendered non-apperceptive by the technique of producing a conditioned reflex. Aristotle had, before Descartes, maintained a similar opinion that only humans were capable of a self-conscious apperceptive response. This opinion of Aristotle's was confirmed in his invention of the vegetable and the animal souls, as distinct from the rational soul. So that's a reading again. Thank you all for coming. Sister Tapua, Brother Sam, Brother Chidi, Brother Khan, Brother Koko, Sister Portia, Brother Pigeon, and myself. So welcome. So I have read the text. Please, we shall share our thinking and go around. It is a safe space, so feel free to share your actual thinking, even if you disagree with the text. Feel free to share. It's not only a safe space, this is a respectful space. And that means we respect one another and allow people to share their real thinking without fear or favor. Yeah. If I need to, I shall interject for the purposes of philosophical and ideological clarification. It's never to disrespect anyone or to arrest anyone's train of thought. Yeah. It's just so together we can grow as brothers and sisters. Yeah. So thank you. So I've read again. The text is on the screen. So let's hear from you. What do you think? Let's start with. Let's see if someone says they can't speak. Let me look in the chat. No one has said they can't speak. So let's start with Brother Koko. Thank you.
Please pass. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Sister Portia.
Yes, please.
Should I pass?
No, please.
Okay. Share your thinking with us, please. Thank you.
Okay. There are two paragraphs. The first paragraph says, living things, pardon me. The first paragraph says, living things are, this is my initial thinking. Living things, the first sentence, living things are distinct from other beings. The second sentence says, goes into more of about what living things are being talked about. So there's a view that non-human living things are not human living things. The third sentence says, non-human living things or non-human life is actually in turn then it's void of comprehension, pensiveness, for example. And that non-human life, it actually could be more controlled than the human life. The fourth sentence says, human life then could be linked to actions that are separate from that non-human life. So a repetition. And then the fifth sentence then says, if you give an example, you could see, like, for example, even that human life at some point, it could be in a state of interpretation, comprehensive, pensiveness, but then that could become stagnant. There can be a moment where it's not comprehending or interpreting or being pensive. So now to the second paragraph, excuse me. The second paragraph says, others have agreed with that kind of general thinking in paragraph 1. Other persons, and they give one example of a person. And then the second sentence says that second person that they're naming has done maybe an experiment to prove what has been said in paragraph 1. Now to my thinking. I remember when I was in Africa, we were in Rwanda, I was volunteering, and we had this huge table. We were at a pizza place, and we got on the topic of this discussion. And I was like, how do you know that a vegetable doesn't think? And I use the word think in retrospect. I shouldn't use the word think, because as soon as I say think, there's automatically a hierarchy of, oh, well, no, human life is distinct from perceived non-human life. So we got into this discourse. I was like, you don't even speak vegetable language. I really said that. And I know it's being recorded. So maybe I shouldn't have said they recorded. Yet I'm going to say it again. I mean, do you speak vegetable language? And so it goes back to the point that I have said over and over in us having this discussion is, and I saw today on a thread post, they said basically that human life, when they find out something that we know, and then you open that up, which we say we know, it shows us how much we don't know. And I do give respect to our ancestry and all of the contributions that we've made scientifically, medically, psychologically, culturally, morally, communally. So those stand. Facts are facts. I'm not even taking that or attempting to take that away. I just think in our time in these racial capitalist systems, I know I keep saying this and I'll wrap up in a bit. How I know these systems are not good, because I don't think we were so what is it? So sure of ourselves. And what I mean by so sure of ourselves, meaning like it's no discussion. We are the human life. That's how it is. Everything else, it's beneath us. That's racial capitalist systems. And we find ourselves in these systems. We start thinking like what it is, the disease it's teaching. And I just always go back to the ancestors. I think they knew that they didn't know everything, but they did a lot of contributions, but they didn't know anything. So there is a wisdom with knowledge there. So I'll close with, I don't know if vegetables are conscious. And I am not going to just write it off and say they're not conscious, because I'm seeing them in a way that I think I know is them. Thank you.
But Sister Portia, that raises the question: what do you think is consciousness?
You asked me this before, and you keep pressing me, and I heard what you said. So thank you for that, Brother Promi. That's so humble of you. But you asked me this before, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I feel like in racial capitalist systems, I know we did not start in racial capitalist systems. I'm talking about Africa, Kibulan, Nubia. We didn't start there in these systems. We were before them. I'm just saying these systems are so insidious that sometimes we be spewing stuff that the systems is spewing. And so what is consciousness? I'm not sure Queen Amirenas was saying that when she was knocking out the Romans. I don't know if she was like, what is consciousness? I just know she was protecting her people and at the same time in community with nature. And I respect that. Thank you.
You haven't answered my question though. So what do you, as far as you know, what is consciousness? What does it mean to be conscious? As far as you know.
As far as someone, I don't know what I don't know, and that's why I told you I want to hopefully be a philosopher, because that's a philosophical question. So I don't know what I don't know, but what I can say is, as far as these eyes that I'm seeing through right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm in a space that's open and I can see some stuff and some stuff I can't see.
I mean, so if I was to say to you, you are now being conscious of consciousness itself, would you accept that?
If I'm a nascent philosopher,
I never accept anything. Sorry, go on.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm a nascent philosopher, if I'm an aspiring philosopher, I don't ever accept anything as absolute. That would be contrary to me as a budding philosopher.
You think you don't think anything is absolute? You don't think that, you think that, so you don't think there is, so you think the idea of absolute doesn't apply to reality? Is that what you're saying?
That's racial capitalistic ideology.
Okay.
That's how some people can say, they can be so sure there are two types of people in the world. In the whole freaking galaxy, there's only two types of people. Have you even met 100 people? So racial capitalistic systems, they all are about absolutes. And as we saw in previous chapters, when ancestor Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was showing through his quite intelligent way of proving something questionable, he was like, they don't know what they're talking about. Thank you.
So it can be absolute, you don't exist yourself, yeah?
I don't believe in absolutes. Let me just say that.
Can we be absolutely sure that you don't exist?
Brother Kwame.
Or can we be absolutely sure you exist?
Brother Kwame.
Okay, thank you for sharing your thinking, Sister Portia. I've made some of you co-hosts, so you can also keep an eye on the waiting room. Yeah. Okay, so we've heard from our sister. We thank our sister always. You notice how our sister relates philosophy to the material conditions of existence, especially capitalism. And that's a very useful way of looking at the world. So thank you, Sister Portia. Let's now go to Dr. Phiri, please. Thank you.
I just entered now.
So should I pass?
From another meeting.
I'm happy to pass and come back to you later. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll come back later. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's okay. So let's go to Sister Amma, please. Okay, let me check the chat because I know some of you.
Hi, good evening. I've also just entered, and so could you go to somebody else first?
That's fine. I'll pass.
So,
Yeah, I'll pass and we come back to you later. Let's go to Brother Sam, please. Brother Koko has his hand up. Brother Sam, pause. Let me ask Brother Koko. Yes, you have your hand up.
just to say, I'm ready.
You are ready.
Brother
Okay,
Sam.
then
After Brother Sam.
No,
Yep.
you go first. Brother Sam will come later. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Sister Portia, who had the first go. It's important to pick sometimes what is not in the text, which is what we are trying to do here. And the text is sort of a guiding light, but the question is a message. And this is what we are trying to provide here when we provide our thinking. Descartes, he quotes Descartes. René Descartes believed that animals are essentially machines. They have no conscious minds, and their behavior is entirely mechanical. And according to Descartes, the dog will bark, that will be a mechanical reaction. And a bird flies is a mechanical reaction. So there is no genuine consciousness involved in those actions by those animals. And what Osajefo does here, he mentions them because this is an example of someone who believed that animals respond only non-perceptively. And Sister Portia was right. It's all about hierarchies. They are building those hierarchies like that. Because let's not forget who discovered everything. The people from the West. Majority of those things they discover, they were already there when the indigenous people were living there for millennia. But they came in, they discovered them because they have maybe higher perception or higher consciousness, according to them, not me. Then Dr. Nguma then mentions, well, before Dr. Nguma mentions Aristotle, it's important to delve into humans. We know that humans sometimes act automatically. And that's what the point Dr. Nguma makes by saying even humans are not entirely above non-perceptive response. And we know about this, for instance, in driving. When we start driving, we start looking at the pedals, we start looking at our feet. It requires thought to think about where you're going, where you're stopping, and looking everywhere. But years later after that, that becomes automatic. It becomes automatic. You, as a driver, you can drive for ages, not even realizing that you did not even look where you were going, because that becomes automatic. So that's where it moves from perceptive to becoming non-perceptive. And other examples are typing, riding a bike, for instance, or even playing a piano, for those of us who can play a piano or a guitar. Most of these actions, they begin as conscious actions, but then they become habits, become skills to such an extent that we don't think about them. They just become secondary nature. So what we are seeing here is what you can call conditioned reflex. It becomes conditioned now because it started as apperceptive, but in time, be rendered non-apperceptive. A response that starts being apperceptive could in time be rendered non-apperceptive. So, for example, in this case, when we start driving, we consciously stop at a red light. Okay? But after years, even when there is no danger or is at night, is dangerous to stop, we always know at the red light to stop. We have that conditioned reflex built in us as drivers. And it doesn't really require a lot of conscious thought because it's now a conditioned reflex. Now, talking about Aristotle, is more or less building on what Descartes was saying. Although Descartes was more of animals were mechanical, Aristotle, years before Descartes, he had argued in a different way to say that different kinds of living things, they possess different kinds of souls. This was more about souls. Saying plants possess vegetative soul for nutrition, growth, and reproduction. And animals, they possess a sensitive or animal soul. Animals, that's for sensation and movement and instinct. But humans, they have a rational soul. And again, you see that hierarchy being formed again, putting humans at the top and everything else at the bottom. And only humans, according to Aristotle, will possess the rational soul, which makes deliberate, reflective thought possible. But what Nguma is doing here, he is comparing them and also actually giving us as readers or listeners to whoever was listening, that there are contradictions in all cases. Because these two believed humans possess fully conditioned, self-conscious, apperceptive responses. But there are cases where humans themselves don't possess that. And again, what they are trying to do is to denigrate everything else that's not human. So again, a case against materialism. But Nkrumah uses that to build a case for materialism. So in terms of breaking that down in a simplified way, when we talk about non-apperceptive response, we will say it's automatic, instinctive, and there's no self-awareness involved. It's just a mere reaction to stimulus. And then it's common in animals, according to them, to the two Western philosophers. But a perceptive response, on the other hand, is deliberate, it's reflective, it's self-aware, and it's a conscious evaluation before acting. And that is a characteristic of a rational thought in humans. But as I have already said, this again is a case against materialism. So just in closing, I would have to say, according to our own folklore, this is from organic African paradigm with teacher Mitri, we have created the top, and then we have our ancestors. And before our ancestors, we had nature. Nature was there before our ancestors, because our ancestors are part of nature. For our ancestors to have passed everything down to us, they learned a lot from animals. They learned a lot from plants. In fact, most of us Africans, we still use animal names because we are looking at characteristics which are in animals. We know that the lion is not just apperceptive, non-apperceptive. We know that living in the wild requires a reasoned, a measured action in response to danger, not just mechanical or automatic. All these animals, we learn a lot from them. But what the Western philosophers are doing is to reduce them to mere mechanical beings. So allow me to stop there, and I hope I've.
Yeah. So Brother Koko, so
yes,
you are saying you disagree with Descartes?
Both of them. Yes.
Okay. And the reason?
As I said in closing, we
Yeah.
learn a lot from these beings. We learn a lot from animals, and in our own language, the what do you call them? Our clan names, the clans themselves, they are all based on animals. It's not an accident. It's a purpose. Is because those beings, they do have some rationality about themselves.
Okay. So you are
Yeah.
saying animals are also apperceptive.
Yes, please. Yes.
Did you notice the statement that says, indeed, Descartes thought the response of all non-human animals was non-apperceptive? Didn't you have difficulty with that sentence when he says all non-human animals, to imply that there are human animals? I thought you'd have picked that up from your...
I decided to just move away from that because it doesn't even make sense. Thank you.
which is why you must mention it, I think, because the idea is
Okay.
that there are human animals. I mean,
I was waiting for General Anumaki to come and analyze it because he's the one who mentioned it yesterday.
Because I mean, for Africans, the idea that humans are animals is unacceptable. Anyway, thank you for sharing your thinking. Let's go to Sister. So we've heard from my brother, now Sister Ida. Sister Ida, I did see you, and I was going to let you in, and then you were out. So thank you for coming back. Yes, share your thinking, please.
Sorry, thank you.
I'm happy to
I
pass
tried
if you
to
want
get
to
in,
come
but
back.
I couldn't, so I just
No, I
gave
saw
up.
you. I was going to let you, and then you had gone.
Oh, right. Well, I just thought I better check the
Right.
connection again.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Fine.
Thank you.
Would you like to share your thinking or pass for now? Okay, I think you want to pass. Is that correct, Sister Ida? Pass for now, yeah? Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's go to I don't know if Dr. Phiri is ready yet. Let's go to Brother Sam now. Brother Sam.
Evening, everybody. Brother,
Good evening, brother.
Am I audible?
Very much so, brother.
Okay, thanks. And I really love the part where brother Koko expressed the issue of our ancestors and the knowledge that they had, because for me, Nkrumah is at pains to show the pitfalls that we are faced with, as perpetuated by our erstwhile colonizers who have become our neo-colonialist oppressors today. And if we don't become aware that every time we discover a ploy they have employed, they move to another level. And in this case, Kwame has showed us all these levels. And the basic important here is that we are all interconnected. Everything on earth is interconnected, and we depend on each other in one way or the other. If you divorce yourself from your natural habitat, you are doomed. And this is what the colonialists are doing. If we do that, we will not even know about our riches that are beneath the earth. We will not even recognize how they are driving this world and its economic formation. So for me, I think Kwame is exposing that, because the basic thing is that the imperialists want to continue to keep us as if we never had any life and history before they came. We should recognize everything according to their eyes. And this is where the mentality of colonialism is based, that perpetually we must think we cannot do it. And that's why Kwame says we have this movement within us, and we must recognize that unless we do all these movements and we see the interconnectivity of everything on earth, we were going to lose it. We will not be able to do whether it's a linear direction or a horizontal or even a rotary movement that he has taught us about, unless we see the interconnectivity of everything. Thanks.
Thank you, brother Sam, for sharing your thinking. Let's go to Sister Tapua, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What caught my attention is the sentence, but even humans are not entirely above non-perceptive response. Indeed, a response that starts by being apperceptive could in time be rendered non-apperceptive by the technique of producing a conditioned reflex. I focused on these words, the technique of producing, and because from my point of view, this technique is external. And like Sister Portia was saying, the capitalist system is bent on manipulating people to exploit them. And what I see here in this statement is the efforts that have been put by the colonial system to capture us mentally, mental colonization, so that, for example, in the beginning, when the process was starting, people were conscious of what was happening to us. But now we're in a situation where it's become conditioned reflex. Some of us are not even aware that we've been captured mentally, which is why expressions like the ones that we've experienced in the past few years of saying that we are woke means that there is an awareness that is beginning to take us back to apperceptive responses from the reflex ones. And I think it's also pointing to the fact that this technique that's been used on us can be reversed so that we are able to condition our own children and our own people to such an extent that it becomes natural for them to expect Black excellence. It becomes natural for them to see the exploiter for who he is without even questioning. Just like we've been colonized mentally, some of us don't question anything. We actually think that being Western and being white and anything like that is what should be. We're beginning to experience the reverse, and we can take control and be aware that these responses, non-apperceptive and apperceptive responses, could be conditioned. And we can take advantage of that and condition towards the liberation and development of Africa. Thank you.
Right. Considering the AU is where it is and we are where we are, one wonders when their condition reflex will kick in. But thank you for sharing your thinking, Sister Tapua.
You're welcome. Right.
Let's now hear from a brother who is subsong SMA175F. Yeah. Is that Brother Menzi? I know Hyper Com is our Ghanaian brother. Who is Samsung? Samsung. Can you identify yourself, please? Just so we are sure who you are. Thanks. Right. Let's hear from Brother Chidi. Brother Chidi, One Map Africa. What do you think?
Yes, thank you. Greetings, everybody.
Greetings, brother.
Yes, my own thinking from this paragraph, as I see it, Descartes sees non-humans as not having a soul or those who cannot think. So anybody who cannot think is just like a person who has to be used, is just a tool. Because it's charged mechanically, because a tool is there to be used. So that is the colonial mentalist, which when imperialists came to Africa, they have the mental that Africans were not thinking, they were like tools, which were going to be used and as means of production. But this was a mistake, because everything, even when you are looking at all animals, they have souls, they can think. And this is the mentality which need to be removed from these people, which was coming with the colonialists, that they think they were more superior as humans, and anything that they were looking at from the perspective of the Africans, they were less humans and they were not having a soul, they were not able to think. So that's my thinking. So this is what Kuruma was trying to highlight, that no, this mentality which was there, people should be able to identify and also educate people that this is not true. All living animals, they have souls, or they can think. They are conscious of what is happening, so that is the way that was trying to be expressed from this reading, so that we should also see that this, when we go forward, we should be able to lobby and also to try and educate ourselves and also educate our next generations, that even before the colonialists come in, our ancestors, they were great thinkers. They have souls. They learned from all the surrounding, all other living things that they are having. They were tapping from whatever they have within their environment and their surroundings. So this is what is being highlighted from that. That's my thinking for this paragraph. Thank you.
Yeah, Brother Chidi, I have a question for you. I hope you don't mind.
Yes.
So towards the end, you said that our ancestors were thinkers, they were creators, they were producers, etc., etc. And then before that, you said that when the colonialists came, they told us we were not thinkers, we were not producers, they treat us like beasts of burden, like mechanical tools. So do you not think that the colonialists knew what you are saying, what you said towards the end, when they came? Do you not think that they knew our ancestors are what you just said they are? The philosophers, scientists, etc. Do you not think they already knew?
From their perspective, because of their ignorance, they were not aware. But today we still have the colonialists who have the same mindsets, which we should also try and let them know that we are all equal. We are not tools to be used, but we are even more capable of thinking. We have souls, we can solve great problems, which their inheritors or which they inherit from their colonialists, with the current colonialists which we have the same mentality. We need to try and rub it out so that we can say we are better off than you and we can perform better than you. We are not mechanical tools, and all animals, they can think because they have souls. That's my thinking.
Yeah, Brother Sam, and I'm asking you, do you not think that they knew all this before they came to the continent? That you are scientists, creators, etc., etc. Do you think they were that ignorant of who
they were very
who the
ignorant.
African
They
was?
don't know. They didn't know about it. They were very ignorant about it. They think they were the only humans who were thinking, so they were very ignorant about it.
No.
Okay. What? Okay. I think other people have their hands up. All right. Let's not divert the conversation.
Okay.
With responses. But no. Let's not divert. Let everybody share their thinking. Otherwise, it's already after 8 o'clock. Okay. But you've heard it from Brother Chidi. That's what he thinks. I'm sure others think otherwise. But we'll come to that another time. Let's hear from Sister Ida. Are you now happy to come back, or should I come back later?
Maybe a bit later. Thank you.
A bit later. Okay. How about Sister Amma? Sister Amma, should I come back later, or can you share your thinking now?
No, later, because I'm juggling a lot of things in the background. I haven't been in that long, and then so my apologies, everybody.
It's okay. You don't have to apologize, our sister. Right. So let's then hear from Dr. Phiri. Are you ready?
Yes.
Dr. Phiri, the philosopher. Dr. Phiri, share your thinking with us. What do you think?
Oh my God. I was okay. I always, whenever Kwame Nkrumah picks up some of these philosophers, I start to think about the era in which these philosophers are well known and what were they thinking. Actually, the creation of what is called the modern state, in which in Africa is the colonial state that we have now. Those are the people who started thinking. It was like in the 15th century, these people, and there are quite a number of them, were thinking around that. But the interesting thing is Aristotle. Aristotle is an earlier one. He's quite one of the what's called ancient philosophers who also came in, who started thinking about quite a number of things. But so the question that comes to my mind is to say, why is Nkrumah picking up Descartes? Descartes is the center of something. Why would he pick such a person?
Why? Thank you. All right. Share your insight with us. Why do you think he picked him?
Yeah, so that is it's quite interesting, because Descartes also wanted to prove, like I realized last time there was someone who was sharing, then you were asking, it was Sister Portia, then you were asking, how do you prove your existence? Descartes had this idea that it ended up becoming only the mind that exists.
I think therefore I am. Yeah.
Yes. I think therefore I am. And if you realize that the creation of science was created because of two disciplines of philosophy. They were is it the rationalists, and those ones the empiricists. So when they came together, they created science. That's how the idea of the modern state was actually created. But the question is, what is central is the idea of the self-consciousness. And last time we talked about it, and it's linked about to be human. Self-consciousness means being human, because you can only know who you are when you know what is around you. When you're conscious of what is around you, that's how you know that you actually exist. That's how you define yourself. You don't just define yourself with who you are. According to them, that's how human beings think. Human beings are unlike animals. My interpretation of the other response is, when there's no rationality, there's what's called instinct. What others have described as mechanical is instinct. That animals react according to instincts. They don't reflect, they don't think through things, but human beings does. That's what it's trying to say. But the question of even distinguishing, even just to say, among the human beings, there's a possibility of the lack of consciousness. That is my reading of this text. That in itself says there can be other human beings who are not human beings enough. Okay. The reason why I'm pushing that is because when these philosophers were thinking, they were thinking as if they were the only human beings. Actually, their idea of a human being was a white person, was the human being. That was the idea. They were, for them, nothing was. I'll give you a very good example. If you move out of that era and just move a little bit outside, you realize that there were people who would even go to church and pray to Jesus for equality and all this stuff, but they still had slaves tied in cages. According to them, black people specifically were not human beings at all. We never existed. And when they were thinking about developing a modern world, they never thought of us as part of it. You see, so Descartes is one of the initial thinkers who actually had that idea of creating that state, the way of thinking of what's called the Western thinking. And there's this idea of provincialization, which is quite central, where Europe thought that they were the only ones who can think, and whoever does not think using their thinking patterns cannot be rational, cannot be self-consciousness. Therefore, you will be the other, where we used to be. So according to me, this is my thinking with the readings. Most of the readings of Kwame Nkrumah, they're a little bit difficult for me because I always got a feeling that I try to imagine why is he writing, in which context is he writing from. Sometimes I can't figure it out, so I might be very clear. I think Prof. Kwame have got a better clarity on that. But one thing that I discover is that is the problem that Kwame Nkrumah is trying to say, like what we discussed last time, that this idea of some people thinking even more effective than the Western thinking, but in a different way. For them, it never fall within the framework of what is called humanity. So what Kwame Nkrumah is doing by bringing this text, even the other text that doesn't make sense, is try to break that ignorance, that myopic thinking of the West, that very thinking that created that problem that we have of colonialism. Because whenever I think I am clever than other people, I tend to disqualify anyone else who differs from me or have got a different perspective, because I think that they are always wrong. That's how they used to be. So Kwame Nkrumah, what he's trying to say is trying to break that, to realize that these people might have thought in that way, that might have worked for themselves, but there's something much more bigger. So when you think about self-consciousness, it cannot only be defined within the framework of those people of that particular generation. I never used to like what was called, it was called modern philosophers. I think that's what they were called. I never liked that, but those are the ones that think that they know it all. And even most of our training also tend to focus on them as if they are the great thinkers, actually. If you think about history and who are the great thinkers, everyone else points to Greek, to Greece, as if that was the center of thinking itself. Yeah. So this is another way of Kwame Nkrumah trying to show us that we can transcend such way of thinking. By doing that, then we start realizing that, like what the decolonial scholars try to work around, to say that actually not one perspective defines the world, but different perspective in a variety actually makes us see the world in a much better framework. I think I should stop there. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think that the slave owner that went to church and had a slave caged on his plantation, do you think he thought that the enslaved was a thinker? That the enslaved was thinking just like him or her?
Absolutely not. Slaves were reduced as animals. That's why Jesus will say, treat everyone else in the same way. For them, slaves never qualified within the framework of humanity. They were more like animals for them.
Okay. Yeah. So did that thinking that the enslaved is an animal, was that thinking there before enslavement started? Or did that thinking come after enslavement to justify it? What do you think?
I don't want to comment there. I will just leave it open. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay, so from what we know, these theories were invented after slavery to justify it.
Okay.
When Dr. Job, the Senegalese scientist, wrote Africa, the Origin of Civilization, True or False, where do you think he got his evidence from for his book? What do you think? I just want to know what you think. Where do you think he got his evidence from that the African is the origin of civilization? Where do you think he got the evidence from?
Yeah, I'm feeling the weight that I normally give to my students. So at least it's good that I'm subjected back to be a student.
No, okay. It's just a thing. Where do you think he got the evidence from that Africa is the origin of civilization?
I wouldn't give an absolute answer, but from my reading now of Pan-Africanism and all this stuff, I realized that there's been also some more evidence that have been found actually within Africa itself.
But at the time when he was writing, where were the evidence stored, as far as you know? In which archives, which libraries had those kind of information?
No, I can't comment on that one. To be honest, I don't know. I think it's the good word.
Okay, so Dr. Job studied in France. That's where he wrote his book. So where do you think he got the evidence from? From the French archives. Which is why I asked Dachidi the question. Do you think they knew who we were before they came? Okay. That's why I asked, do you think, when somebody says to you, you are inferior to me, you are inferior to me, do you think that it just might be that they are projecting their own self-inferiority onto you? That they don't really think you are inferior?
Yeah, actually, it's insecurity, yes.
Yeah, it is their inferiority that they may be projecting onto you.
Yes.
It's just a question. Anyway, we are still sharing our thinking. We've heard from a few people. Let's see who we've heard from. We've heard from Brother Sam, Sister Tapoa, Sister Portia, Brother Chidi, Dr. Phiri. Right, so there are still a few people with some hands up. So let's go to Brother Pigeon, who has his hand up. Brother Pigeon, can you share your thinking?
Yeah, Brother Kwame, I'm ready to share my thinking. Can you hear me?
And not clearly as we normally do. You've been having problems with your internet, I believe. Or you
I'm not that clear.
You have some lights out, yeah.
Am I not that clear?
It's as if you are a bit far from the computer, but yeah, it's okay. We can hear you. Yeah, proceed.
Okay. Let me try to disconnect the Bluetooth and see if I can be more clearer, because I want to be more clearer.
Yeah, Sister Pua has a hand up. I don't know if it's a question or a comment. Let me hear from her, and then I'll come back to you, Brother Pigeon. Sister Pua, do you have a question or a comment?
It's a comment.
Okay, quick one. All right, make your comment.
Yes,
and then we'll move on
my comment is they knew. Okay, they knew about the superiority of the Black people.
Thank you.
But for them to exploit us because they had ulterior motive, they had to say to themselves to reduce cognitive dissonance that we were inferior. But the actions of caging someone actually shows the opposite. So they always had these contradictions of saying one thing, but their behavior actually told us the other. Yes, so that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Brother Chidi, you heard it from your own sister next door to you on the ground. We'll come back to you later. Sister Portia also has a hand up. Let me quickly hear from her, and then we'll go to Brother Pigeon. Sister Portia.
For historical records, the reason why, which I presented last Saturday, it was tied heavily to having them have a new financial start after fleeing themselves from economic suppression. So This was unfortunately a ruse, a hoodwink to say that there were persons who were not human, when actually, when you go back historically, there was evidence that Africa was seen as human. But again, racial capitalism starts to justify them starting again from the economic suppression they were experiencing, white appearing men. And this happened in Australia, this happened in North America, this happened throughout Europe.
Okay, thank you.
This is why when you think of when the emphasis on racial capitalism, we look heavily not just on the skin tone appearing, but what it chooses to enact with that skin toning appearing. It chooses to enact a theft of land, of property, of religion, of psychology. That dominates and keeps white appearing people in economic power, which they never had from the womb of England. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But you black people, you are the same black people who give prominence to light-skinned people. And then you say they are not, but yet you giving prominence to them. Right, let's hear from Brother Pigeon. I'm sure you are ready, but Brother Koko has his hand up, so let me hear from him quickly and I'll come back to you. Brother Koko, quick one.
Don't
I'll go
forget.
to Brother Pigeon. Sorry?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we don't forget that not only Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am, but also Aristotle, who said man is a rational being. By saying man is a rational being, what was talking about the human as in the white man, not any other human being. Thank you.
Sorry. Aristotle said what? I didn't catch that.
Man was a rational being. Okay. Man was a rational being. His statement of man was a rational being was only targeted at the white man, not even a white woman, and not even any other different type of person.
Yeah.
Only white men. Okay.
I hear Aristotle was black. He wasn't a white one himself. Very interesting. No, thank you very much for drawing our attention to that, brother Koko. Yeah, I think this goes back to the central question whether or not they really did think that, or whether that was a ruse, like Sister Portia is saying. That was just part of the ideology to rob us by pretending they didn't know what they knew. Because look, all those the documents were in the libraries in Spain. I mean, come on, the documents were there. Yeah, the ones that Cleopatra took with her to Rome, those documents, they had access to them. They had access to our stolen manuscripts. How could they not have known who they were dealing with? Anyway, that's a question for us. Brother Pigeon, please share your thinking. Thanks.
Thank you, Brother Kwame. Hope I'm a bit clearer now.
Very, very clear.
Now, thanks for those who have come in on this. I was a bit off a bit sometimes when I got some urgent call. Now, the key fundamental question, I'll be maybe going deep on the text, but I'm interested on the key issue as Dr. Phiri was saying as well. Why Nkrumah brings this here. And remember, we have been discussing matter for a long period of time, self-motion and all these elements in the past. Now here we are talking about the mind, the action of the mind, whether it's a perceptive or non-perceptive, is the action of mind. And one, I'm very interested on when the term non-human animals. So there are human animals and there are some non-human animals. I'm not interested to go into that definition because I'm really interested to know who is or what is a non-human animal. But we are comparing human and animals. I'll put it in a very maybe awkward way. as Descartes says, that he thought that the response of all non-human animals was non-apperceptive. Now, we discussed these definitions last week with the apperceptive and non-apperceptive. And non-apperceptive, it means automatic, while apperceptive means deliberate. And then
yes,
I go back
to
this.
So apperceptive means that you relate the stimulus to your past experience, and then your higher cognition then decides what you should do. Yeah.
Yes. But these other ones just respond to stimulus. It's like you just respond, you don't relate. Now, there are two things here. I believe that people are animals in this category, and you know who they are. And probably we will be human enough, because the behaviors of some of the people you'll be describing here, either the whites or what you want to call them, actually qualify to be more of animal behavior rather than human behavior. If you talk about human, and if you look at, when you talk about humanist principle, remember, Brother Kwame, when you came across what you call a humanist principle. So it means there's also operation of animalist principles. And in humanist principles, some of the behavior we see from some of these people cannot qualify under humanist principle. Because we think, as you say, we relate.
Yeah, hold on, Brother Pigeon. Then hold your thought, though. Don't lose your train of thought. It raises a question whether or not if a human behaves as an animal, they cease to be human. And if an animal, a dog, a cat, whatever you want to call the animal, behaves like a human, whether that qualifies them to be human.
The key question,
so in other words, vice versa.
The key question will be whether they are capable of doing that. We need to qualify first if dogs can be capable of behaving like humans. But the underneath principle, whether we call it humanist principle, is that what Nkrumah is trying to bring in. But again, that thinking or behavior, because behavior is out of mind thinking. Nkrumah reminds us that higher consciousness is just a proper organization of matter. That's what Nkrumah is trying to bring forth. That consciousness, or what you're now calling, because you see now Aristotle is creating some element of either soul or self-consciousness. The soul that Aristotle is trying to claim here is bringing animal soul, vegetable souls, is trying to explain basically a proper organization of matter. Thinking, or whatever we want to call about, is just proper organization of matter in a different category. What I'm interested here is that conditioning, behavior, a perception, behavior out of either thinking or whatever past experiences connecting, the impact of that conditioning to us as a people. And that's what I think Nkrumah is trying to bring here. In this context where we Africans are, how should we respond? Should we respond in an apperceptive way or respond in a perceptive way? Because conditioning of our thinking, just the same way you can condition an animal to think, that conditioning, since Africa got interaction with the West, it has conditioned us as if they are superior and we are inferior. And they've tried to do all things to show us that we are inferior. To an extent that today, many of Africans people, especially even many in the continent here, still think that where there's the best life is in the West and the West. Our African ladies, some of them, or even men, think that marrying a white woman or marrying a white man will be blessings to us. It's a conditioning of our thinking. African government think that support or aid for Africa can only come from USAID or IMF or World Bank. It's a conditioning of our mind. And therefore our behavior comes out of that condition. You see? So this is very important to us in terms of how do we then think or respond? How do we then act? And remember, this chapter is thought and action. So is it that our actions have been conditioned with our thinking? Because of course the interaction of us with the West as Nkrumah says, our interaction with the Euro-Christian and Indo-Islamic traditions has been here for a period of time. And therefore, today we have an African that has that experience, an Africa that has been somehow conditioned to that direction. There are people who have been conditioned out of Euro-Christianity that the salvation is from God who is somewhere, that they should not store their wealth in the world, but where the moth cannot reach it, in heaven or somewhere else. There are people who have been conditioned that the primary responsibility of what they should do is to pray and be righteous people and not to care about their conditions of either being poor physically. They know they are poor in spirit, they are rich in spirit. So this is the reaction that I'm trying to read from here in terms of how then we act out of this condition, whether we act out of experience or what you call instinct. So I'm not even going deep to what the two philosophers here are trying to categorize as animal and human. And I'm interested why they brought the element of animal and human. As some of us have said, is it that they saw us as animals? That when we were acting as Africans out of instinct, because most of Africans did believe and respect their instinct a lot. We know that, no, your instinct, you wake up in the morning, something tells you, no, don't pass this road, use this other road. And it's not because you met a snake before in that road, but you just wake up and feel like, no, I should not use this route. Was that element of our thinking or action then perceived to them as animal thinking? As you are trying to say, how about if a human behaves like animal or an animal behaves like human, you see? And I think what Nkrumah is trying to neutralize here, that as you are saying, Brother, coming through your question, that both are responsible, or both are capable of thinking, but our instinct was maybe perceived as animal behavior, and our conditioning of our reaction today is not out of instinct, it's out of experience you have been subjected to. Whether you call it miseducation, whether you call it subjugation, whether you call it enslavement experience, we have been in 300 years of this subjection. And therefore, I think what Nkrumah is calling upon is we need to free our mind from that conditioning. Because that conditioning of how we act in thinking is going to still tie us as African. And if we want to free ourselves as a people, it's a high time that we free our mind out of that. And it's because if we condition ourselves, then we'll be going against the self-motion and the conversation we've been having before. That if we condition ourselves, then we believe that any development, any progress must be pushed from outside. We'll consider the matter as innate, that we are not capable of acting until we are triggered in some elements, and until we get help or push from the web. So this is what I'm finding as why Nkrumah is putting this here, that we need to walk out of that. We need to understand that self-motion internally. We need to get out of that thinking we have been conditioned so that we can think free. We are capable of free thought without being conditioned in any way. And that free thought is what can enable us to move forward. It's when we can truly start to seeing ourselves, our worth, our value, and our progress as a people. But that conditioning is going to bring us down. So that's what I'm trying to read out of this. Thank you.
So Pigeon, why do you think Descartes said animals don't have souls? Why do you think he said that?
Because he believes that some actions are ever triggered by the soul. So why did he want to create a soul or a spirit?
Okay, good. So is the idea of a soul materialist or idealist? As far as you know.
That idea is idealist. But in reality, whatever he's trying to project as a soul action is matter organized in a certain proper element. Like you are saying, there are people who can see the unseen. It doesn't mean the unseen is not existing. They can tap to the spirits of our ancestors. That's still matter that is properly organized in some level where they can even feed the vibration, you see? But trying to bring it as spirits or soul thing, it means you want to push in an external trigger that enables the soul to act.
Okay, thank you. So what has all our discussions so far got to do with Africa? I hope you are thinking of that too, brothers and sisters. Let's now go to our sister Amma, please. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'll start off by being honest. I can't get my head around all of this, or some of it. So that's the first thing I'll say. I'm actually going to say something which I think Sister Portia often quite says, which is, as I'm listening to the discussions, I'm thinking there's a lot that we don't know or understand about we as human beings, and our place in I'll use the term, the animal kingdom and in the world. So the thoughts that are going through my mind as people are talking is, humanity, we've been conditioned to think that how we as human beings, and I'm using this general sense, organize and interact with our environment and the world is progressively getting better and moving us forward. That in itself, I will challenge. I will challenge the fact that build, going up to the sky, higher and higher and higher, as being progressive. Why do we feel that that is a sign of superiority or civilization? You know, the whole things I question is, what do we see as being what we're told to define, or what we're told is civilization in inverted commas, or a higher civilization? Why don't we challenge some of it? Because this higher civilization we're told about is constantly pushing us into war and fighting against each other, is constantly, and by this high civilization we're told it's a capitalist one, means that some people, some human beings, live a very harsh, cruel existence. This, us being superior thinking animals, not entirely, but we are the only ones in the animal kingdom, not entirely, but predominantly, who kill for things outside of survival and eating. So we kill for fun, we kill for sport, we kill out of cruelty. So those are the questions which are coming in my head as I think about this, and putting it in the context of Africa's interaction with non-Africans, even Africans in our interaction with Europeans or whatever. I mean, first of all, I will say that and somebody mentioned it, within the concept of, or within, let's say, within how Europe and Europeans have acted, outside of how they've treated us as Africans, they have hierarchies within their own people. So, for instance, somebody mentioned about women. So, a significant number of men, European and also non-European, feel that because they're a man, they're superior to a woman. That is woven into the way society is organized under capitalism, the way that women were denied certain rights, and they've had to fight for them. And then that certainly has impacted on us as Africans. There is a superiority based on people thinking, well, just in terms of what I would say, how we are conditioned to see and value certain behaviors, characteristics, attributes as being, given values in terms of inferiority or superiority. So this whole concept of thought and thinking and the way you think, and the whole definition of what is intelligent, it is man-made value judgment definitions of what amounts to intelligence, how we define intelligence. And it's very much taken from a culture, and to borrow Sister Portia's, what she calls it, racial capitalist culture. I would actually add into that the gender thing, the male thing, which says if you think like me, look like me, of the same gender as me and the same class as me as a white, westernized man, then that is the superior yardstick which everybody in the world should be aiming for. And we have internalized that because we in Africa, with all the land we've got, want to build up into the sky. Why? I'm using that as an example. What is superior? What is beneficial to us as human beings of building up into the sky? I'm talking about tower blocks and things. But we've been conditioned to think it's superior. And I like what you said, Kwame, about where Diop got the knowledge from, because the other thing, what we know is that knowledge and information is not neutral, it's manipulated, and it's denied and access is denied. And one of the examples I always give, and people sometimes challenge me on using this, is the Bible we have. And the Bible that was popular up until, well, certainly when I went to school and when I was growing up, was the King James Version. So it is the version which one of the monarchs of this little island in which I live, Britain, was propagated around the world. And the King James Version left out certain books in the Bible. So the Bible, which all of the, I'm constantly saying this to Christians, do you know that there are other books which were deliberately taken out of the Bible? Do you know that the Bible that was given to us propagates certain, and there are some positive aspects of what's in the Bible, but propagates certain things. And then when they're sitting down with Africans who are enslaved, they'll be reading verses about the slave must honor their master, etc., etc. That's to shape our mind. So I think for me, as I'm struggling with this, I'm thinking that what Nkrumah was trying to get us to see, and somebody mentioned it, I can't remember who, about that there is not one perspective on the world, and how we define the world is very much shaped by those who we are told are the superior thinkers. Because why are we being told that the likes of Aristotle and Descartes and whatever are the superior thinkers? Why are we not actually recognizing that or acknowledging that the elder in a village in Africa, or even the indigenous peoples of the place we call the United States of America, that they themselves had their own philosophers and they themselves had their own way of thinking, and they themselves, and where we're talking about instinct, I think instinct sometimes comes from, I can't quite explain it, but historical collective knowledge, which you kind of like, which moves through the generations without us always being aware of it, that that you shouldn't cut this tree down. And people don't always, at some point, you're told or you're shown, or you as a child, don't cut that tree down, chop that tree down, and you don't know what, but that is to do with wisdom which has somehow passed through the generations. And one of the things which, again, it comes to medicine and our interacting with the environment. Wisdom, and what I will say, is respect. So one of the things which I think indigenous people had, which we are fast lost and losing in this world, is the wisdom of not only how to interact with the environment, but also the respect that you care for the environment. You don't take out more than you need from the environment. You don't build into the sky because it has an impact. You don't concrete over everything because the cycle of rain and water, etc., etc. So I'll finish there. But it's a very the other thing I will say is, and I just feel I need to say this because it fascinated me. There was one time when when I visited Italy, and there was a dead bird, and I can't quite explain it. There was a bird next to it, and it's almost like this bird was mourning. I could almost hear like it was making this noise, which to me, and it just be my interpretation, it was weeping, and it was kind of like it kept resting its head on the dead bird and then lifting it up again and resting its head. And that fascinated me because I thought there's some kind of I can't quite describe it, but for me that was the nearest I've seen, and I think I've seen it on programs on TV. The nearest I've seen to what I could describe as an animal having some kind of soul, because this bird seemed attached to this bird that was dead and deceased, and I think that there's a lot about the animal kingdom and the so-called lower animals, because quite often sometimes I think that's the animals who act out of instinct or whatever that word is sometimes know how to behave better than human beings, but there's a lot we actually don't understand. So for instance, we know that certain animals, I use guide dogs, can be trained to assist and give support to human beings who, for instance, blind human beings who have lost their sight. I can remember once on public transport, there was somebody who had, they call it a support dog or animal. I didn't even notice it until this dog started barking and creating a right ruckus on this bus I was travelling on. And it turned out the reason they were doing that was because their owner was having a seizure. So they were alerting people around that this person's having a seizure, they need some help. So there are all those kind of things which, are constantly going through my mind. So to come back to what Sister Portia says, there's so much that we do not know and we do not understand. And we as human beings, based on this system that has so indoctrinated us, that it's infected all of us, even those of us who are trying to be more conscious of our African heritage and our African roots, makes us think that we know more than what we do know. We have a better understanding of the world than what we actually do have. I'll finish there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Amma. Let's hear from Brother Ifo, please. Brother Ifo.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm driving, and so I've been dropping in and out of the call, so I might have missed something. But piggybacking on what was just said, they talk about intelligence, and based on what I've seen from the over 400 or 500 years of colonialist from Europe, and over 800 years of the colonialists from the Arab world invading our land, I fail to see any intelligence there. There was something I read recently about when the British came to Igbo land, and they had sent some people who were anthropologists, aka spies, and they were looking at the people, and they said, these people are very primitive because every 2 or 3 years they abandon their farms. And they said that there's something wrong with these people. They don't think as advanced as the farmers in Europe. And the reason why they abandoned the farms is because they had the understanding of the land. And based on the kind of soil that was there, it couldn't sustain more than four years of farming before the key nutrients in the land would be depleted. So they had all the land in the community in a grid, and you would farm in the particular grid for 2 or maximum 3 years, and then you leave it alone and you go farm in another part of the grid. And then you come back, depending on where it was, it could be 7 years. Sometimes it was 14 years before you came back to the same piece of land. And that allowed them to be able to grow things organically without having to use pesticides, without having to use all the extra fertilizers and stuff, that the artificial fertilizers that are used in the so-called Western world. So based on that, I would say that the colonialists were the ones who were idiotic, and there was deep, deep wisdom being exhibited by the indigenous Igbo people, who, from the outside, it looks like it was silly. And so I think that as we continue to learn, we start to learn how wise our ancestors are and how unwise the colonialists are, because they're one of the few peoples who continue to actively poison their land and their air, knowingly. I don't know about you, but if we had somebody in your village that was knowingly putting poison in the water, you would send that person to go get some mental, emotional, and spiritual help, because obviously they're unwell. But in the Western world, if you pollute enough and you make billions, they put your picture in the front of a magazine, not as a warning, but as someone to be respected. To me, that is not wisdom. That is deep, deep stupidity. And I shall yield on that. Thank you.
Brother Ifo, the words stupidity, idiocy, intelligence, those are not in the text we read. just so you know. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm driving, so for safety reason, I was not reading anything.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's hear from Brother Mauli.
Greetings.
8:40. Yes, Brother Mauli. Please proceed.
Yes. To me, I think animal and human being, the difference is not about the soul, but consciousness. How conscious we are about our environment and about ourselves as human beings. That is the difference that we have to look at. And Brother Afo made a comment that those who are really poisoning their water deliberately, not there, but I go to the villages sometimes to engage some of these farmers, and they still use DDT and some of these chemicals on the land. Now, the difference is, are they aware the harm they are causing to the land? No, they are not aware, which means they are not conscious about it. So if we are all brought up to speed, or we bring up to speed about what consciousness is, then I think we will all say, okay, we are intelligence. Same way, there are animals that can be trained, to become security dogs and different kind of play different kind of roles. Are we talking about those animals also not having soul? So it's about thinking a certain way and bringing ourselves up to a certain mentality. That's for me what I think.
Okay, so brother Mauli, do you think that the poison of the water in Ghana by Ghanaians and the recent flooding of Samre Boy, which has landed one to me in courts, is it not Africans that are doing that?
So do I see what?
It's okay if you didn't hear it. let's leave it.
It's
okay.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's hear from other people. Brother Akan and Brother Philip have been spoken. Brother Akan, are you able to share your thinking? Brother Akan, are you able to share your thinking on the text? If not, Brother Philip.
Hi, good evening.
Evening, brother.
I think that we are quite clear that Descartes was wrong, and Aristotle, in the sense that they felt that animals had only non-perceptive responses. I think that's abundantly clear now. Maybe I'll just add another example. When lions are hunting, they have a chaser who chases the prey, scatters them. That's the chaser's job. They have a director who takes over and then directs selected prey into a third lion who is waiting in the flank bushes somewhere. So a lot of intelligence and a lot of planning that we see in the lion family and social animals. I mean, they are abundantly wrong. But what I see is relation to one of the last speakers is a intensity or a dedication or an attempt, a desperate attempt to classify the world with the European white male at the top. And this kind of philosophy, which we find in Europe and America, right from Dum Diversas, 14th, 15th century, and so on up until today, to me, doesn't seem to be the kind of philosophy that we find in other parts, like in Africa and Asia. In Africa and Asia, what I see is an understanding that we are simply a part of the universe. The philosophy is not to try to control it, not to classify peoples down with a strata, but we are simply part of the universe. And so, there are attempts to fight each other and so on, but not to the extent to which the Arabs and the Europeans and Americans have done. They feel they have a divine right to control the world. And so there are two basic philosophies as I see it. And what Nkrumah has been hammering down through his book. And the problem is that the European philosophy of being
Oshe. Sorry to interrupt you. Please continue.
Okay, and you see the philosophy of the European, which we can call it European capitalism, and I dress it up in, is basically selfishness. That is at the root of it. And that philosophy takes precedence over every other thing, so that when they come to interpret religion, for example, or interpret culture, somehow they're always at the top. And they therefore give wrong interpretations to religion, wrong interpretations to culture, because fundamentally they want to feel superior. And this is what you alluded to earlier, Brother Kwame, the question of why the desperate need to feel superior. And I think that this class is excellent. We are touching on the fundamental issues of our existence, and what resisting some of these false philosophies. So I think I'll rest there.
Well, Philip, Oshe.
Yeah, I will. I mean, just an opinion.
Thank you for sharing your thinking, Brother Philip. It's a thinking, very, very valid thinking. Now we go to Sister Ida, please. Thank you.
I think I wanted to just highlight the bits about, but even humans are not entirely above non-apperceptive response. Indeed, a response that starts by being apperceptive could in time be rendered non-apperceptive by the technique of producing a conditioned reflex. I think having listened to all that's been said, I can only I think that bit of the paragraph explains in a way what you've all been talking about, in that whether it is humans or even animals in a zoo, or any sort of animals, can be forced to change their behavior to one that is acceptable by whoever is trying to condition them into some sort of response or behavior. And to me, I think that that bit of the paragraph explains what you've all been saying, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Yes, it does. It turns out that Descartes believed in eating animals and vivisection. Vivisection is using animals for experiments. So in order to justify that, he said animals do not have souls. Because if they have souls, then you have to justify why you are using animals in those ways. Anyway, the time is 12 to 9. I think we've heard from everyone. I'm just checking. Yeah, we've heard from everyone. Some have dropped out. I think Brother Menzi dropped out. Brother Akan dropped out. He had a problem, I think, with his internet. Brother Mauli, your hand is still up. Is that a legacy hand, or is it a new hand?
It's a legacy hand, sorry.
It's a legacy hand. Okay, thank you. So I think we've heard from everyone. So thank you all for sharing your thinking. I don't have much to add to all that you have all said. I've made comments as we have proceeded, and so I don't have much to say except to draw your attention to practice and thought. Remember the first line of this chapter says, "Practice without thought is blind. Thought without practice is empty." Practice without thought is blind. Thought without practice is empty. So we have been sharing amongst ourselves some of the thinking that is required for us to understand practice. And so that's a link between that. The apperceptive and non-apperceptive, which I think is an important idea. Brother Philip brought it up in the WhatsApp group. He thought that was a very important word to understand. And I think you've all made various contributions that have drawn attention to the fact that Descartes cannot be right, and Aristotle cannot be right. And the reason these philosophers come up, because they are the philosophers that have tuned the West to think the way they think. So it's important for us to know where the misthinking is coming from, so that we are armed. Obviously, some people don't believe that getting your thinking right is the most important part of the struggle. So on Saturday, for instance, we said we should look at reigniting mass mobilization. But then to do that, you have to go to them with ideas. And where will those ideas come from? So it's important that we ourselves get our ideas in order, our thinking straight. So thank you very much. I shall stop the sharing of the page. And is Brother Pigeon still here? Ask him to make any announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Komi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just about.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sometimes
we're going to August. Can you believe it?
Sometimes back, Brother Koko said he belongs to a group called Farmers of Thought. And you said thinking is farming in your language, Brother Kwame, if you remember?
The word thinking in my language, brother, is Brother Mauli's language as well, is which means to, literally it means to farm consciousness. that's what thinking is.
Yeah, so
think you are farming consciousness.
We are in thought and action, which means we are farming consciousness. We are farming thought now. So, as per the title of chapter 4, and I think over a period of time we've been farming the thought process, and that's why I think, Brother Kwame, you've always said that let's share our thinking, because to think takes a lot. It's like to farm. So we're farming the thought process over a period of time, and I think the more we continue this, the more it becomes very clear on what action should we take. Because sometimes people say again that you will act, but people want to rush to acting. They don't know that the action must be formed through a thought process. You see? So thank you very much for everyone who do join us and those who have shared their thinking today. We will continue doing the farming work, which is the hardest work. The harvest is everyone's wish. They want to come in and harvest. But very few people are ready to go in the ground to do the farming. So the few of us who are committing ourselves every week for the last many years here to farm, we thank you very much. It costs a lot, your attention, your time, your resources for you to be here. We don't thank you very much. I have actually uploaded the recordings for our previous recordings, including the last week recordings, are already available on our YouTube channel. And please find a time to listen to them. I'll be trying to now share them or watch the recordings. I'll try to share them now on our WhatsApp group. And what else? Our Pan-African library is still there. So those who still want to get in touch with our library, Sultana is always here. Please get in touch with Sultana. And I'm requesting anybody who has a book on their library, whether you have it on your phone, please upload it in that library so that you can also contribute. It's high time now we contribute also the books we have in the library. Now this coming Saturday, we are still talking about unified legal system. I had announced this last week. How do we have a unified constitution probably, or a unified legal framework for the continent? And we are asking anybody who is in the legal department, you're a lawyer, constitutionalist, or anybody else who is interested in this, Kelly, come up with something like how. Sometimes back we were always answering the how. So how must it be done? So we need a unified legal system. Help us come up with the how and what it takes to get us there. For us, we propose the United Nations of Africa. That's a conversation this coming week. In that continental markets and value chain will be following up, and then we have integrated transport and energy systems and anti-imperialist alliances. Then we have the capital cities and symbols. So that is the first day of August. So please join us on that. Then on Monday, we continue the Pan-African Reading Club. Thursday, we pick it from where we've left. And yes, there's a lot we're doing on the other side, trying to restructure so many other things here and there. And we look forward to make this stronger as we move along, maybe as our conscious intelligence to be more stronger and under KNT also to ensure that everything else works properly. So thank you very much, and look forward to more from us, more information coming in. We delayed a bit with the groups and the people who are coming in, but we are still trying to reorganize those working groups under the structures of KNT very well, so that then we bring everybody in, but we have the information of those who are willing. We're doing just some restructuring, so we see how we place everybody else and the task we need to complete, so that together we have our hands actually dirty. Those who have not attended our Thursday sessions, nice and ma'am, in our menu was approved. I'm just going to remove them after next week. So probably they have one chance to attend the next Thursday. If they don't attend the next Thursday, we will take them back to either the debate club or take them back in the unification or any other platform. So having said that, back to you, Brother Kwame. I have not much to say.
That's it. We thank everyone for attending. We appreciate you. The ancestors appreciate you. Yeah, and thank you for your time, everything, your dedication, your punctuality, your entrance, your engagement, your sharing, everything. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and see you hopefully on Saturday. I'm going to stop the recording now. Please feel free to